Yes.
to make them more competitive. You opposed that,
Yes.
if I understood
Yes.
Correctly.
Yes.
Why?
Yes, we opposed privatization of universities because when you look at the way universities are supposed to be run, the truth of the matter is that the government should not be able to run away from their responsibility. It is the prerogative of government to fund public universities because public universities are state universities, they are government universities, and therefore the sponsor is the taxpayer through government. If you find government trying to evade that so that they privatize the university, thinking that if they are privatized, they'll be run better, I think they are trying to bury their head in the sand from a matter that they can be able to handle at within a minute. What I mean by this is when you look at the structure of how universities are, universities have about 4 pillars, the key ones. The first pillar is students. You find that a university cannot be there without students. And for this one, I want to say that the government has really done a lot, even including the new model, because that one is student focused.
Yes.
So that we see how students can pay their fee. That one, they have done it better. The second pillar we have is we have parents and guardians who should also do their role of enabling that these students who's brought to a public universities, fees are paid and all that, and they present them there. That one also, there is no problem. The third pillar is the government itself or sponsors. If I talk of private universities, we also have the sponsors or the owners. This pillar is the one to ensure that this university is funded so that it can be able to run as it ought to. When you look at public universities, it is the government to put money there so that these entities are run. It is the same way schools. We have not had anybody telling schools that, even private schools, we have not heard them saying that, oh, we need this help and all that. It is the government that puts money there so that the school is run. The same way, public universities, they expect that the government to put money there. What we are seeing in our government is they try to run away from that, thinking that these universities can generate money on their own. And something that we have always said, that a university is not a factory, that you expect that by the end of the day, they'll have sales in the evening and you get money. It does not work that way. But if they put proper money there, universities will be able to channel out and give out graduates who will be able to go out, work, and bring more tax. The president the other day said that the greatest resource that Kenya has is the human resource. And who is the producer? It is the universities in Kenya, both public and private. So what we are asking the government is, when it comes to public universities, can you do the necessary? You find that, as Prof said here, the problem we have with our government is they don't put money where it belongs. They don't prioritize education. You find that we have several funds out here where monies are put and some of them are stolen. But when it comes to public universities, they want to tell you, we are giving you 10% or 20%, go and look for the rest. From where? We are asking the government, if they do their part, we'll be able to go far. The other one is, if you look at the last pillar, is staff. In each and every university, we have staff. Staff is the most neglected. If I talk of public universities, and I'm seeing even today's headlines in the newspaper, they are talking of teachers CBA. We have never heard of a CBA for public staff at the public universities. Why? Because again, the government doesn't care. It is the government to give us our salaries. That one, they cannot run away from that. We have civil servants, and I can tell you this, who are earning much, much more than government workers in public universities. Why? Because for them, you have never heard them even going on strike. Why? Because when their monies are due, the government sets aside. But when it comes to public universities, who doesn't know that for us to get our dues, we must go to the street? If the government looks at these 4 pillars, the one that is most neglected is staff. Let them pump money in, and then they'll be able to see product. As I said, and as I finish, you cannot expect a worker in a public university who does not know how he'll take his children to hospital because the NHIF there has collapsed. We don't have a medical policy. If you come to government workers, they are given mortgage, leave alone the housing fund that they are talking about. As we are speaking, government workers are enjoying mortgage. We do not have a mortgage scheme in public universities. Are we children of a lesser God? That is what we are asking, that if the government puts priority. Another day, the minority leader said that, watu wachoka. That is how despised we are as staff in public universities. If the government is able to give this staff what belongs to them, we will be able to see public universities performing. In the early 70s, they say, a professor, and Prof here can tell you because maybe that time they were students, professors who were working in Kenya, their salary was equivalent to a PS. How about right now? It is not the same case. So let government go back and look. And I can tell you, even if you go to other countries, we have lecturers who are qualified from here, who are teaching in Botswana, who are teaching in Uganda, who are teaching in Tanzania. Why? Yet we say that Kenya is the best economy in East Africa. But when it comes to payment of salaries, we are not there. This has led even to our academic staff, some of them going back home to vie as MCAs. When they go there, they are told that you cannot vie as an MCA because you are highly qualified. You have so many papers. Why do you want this small position? Why are they doing that? We need this staff to be at the university to do research if they are properly motivated. But as long as my dues are not paid, my salary is half, my loans are not remitted, my CBA has not been revised for the last 6 or 7 years, how do you expect this staff to work more? So we are asking the government, let priorities be done right. We only need a few billions. The government collects trillions of shillings. Public universities require slightly less than 100 billion and their problems are sorted.
All right. I'm curious because you raised the question of research. You are at Kabianga?
Yes.
How have you felt this impact of this debt or, and this shortfall in funding in your research? Has it affected it in any way?
Yes, it has. When you look at public universities, I'm a scientist. You expect me to do research, to be able to come out with a product or a medicine for cancer, for example. How can I do that when my laboratory back at the university does not have the necessary equipment? Across all public universities, it is the government to fund those public universities, to place the infrastructure there, so that now when I'm doing research, I must have the basis. The basics must be there. Because you don't expect me to enter into a lab where there are no reagents, there are no equipment. How do you conduct research? Because some of those equipments, I cannot buy them using my own money. Sometimes, especially in sciences, I want to tell you, the foundational infrastructure must be there. And who is to provide that? It's the government. When you go to other countries, which we are comparing and saying, you see, in South Africa it is like this and that, that's South Africa. Go there and see their universities. They are state universities, funded, properly having the right equipments, and they do research. If we are given that, why should I go to politics to be an MCA? I'll be conducting research, and through research I'll be able to bring more money to the government than running for politics.